Yakipantamam Bande Shikurun Timatavinam Amagana Timiranda Saganan Sharakaya Chakshiminitam Yena Tasmai Shikurave Namaha. So we are now going to talk about Bhagavad-gita. I would like to welcome you to the first day of our seminar on Bhagavad-gita at a glance. We had a few books, only 6 books, so some of you have these books. And so you can follow the seminar with the book. And if you want to take it home, then you can pay $15 over to here. And if you don't want to keep it, then just give it back. But if you're coming tomorrow, then bring it back tomorrow. Okay, so what you see here is the whole Bhagavad-gita, all 18 chapters. And it is starting with chapter 1 over here, down here. It goes actually here, it starts here. And the first 6 chapters are here. And the first 6 chapters mainly deal with karma yoga. And these books come with this poster. This poster is inside the book. So you're just seeing it up there now. And these are the first 6 chapters where Krishna advises Arjuna to fight for him without attachment to the results. And by meditating on Krishna and fighting for Krishna, Arjuna can become the greatest yogi, and so can we, by doing our work for Krishna and thinking of Krishna. Now, the second 6 chapters are Bhakti Yoga chapters. In the middle of Bhagavad-gita, it's like a sandwich. Two sides, the first 6 chapters on one side, and the second 6 chapters on the other side. And in the middle, the best part of the sandwich, is Bhakti Yoga. So that's these 6 chapters that are yellow here, with the yellow effulgence. You're always chanting Hare Krishna and offering obeisances, praying to the deities. You can please Krishna through devotional service. And now the last 6 chapters here of the 3 is Jnana Yoga, where you can worship Krishna through intelligence and knowledge. You hear about analyzing the material world, the ingredients, the modes of nature, and how this world is like a banyan tree, nourished by the modes, how we can transcend it and go back to Godhead. So this is, now you can open your books, and this is the first chapter, Bhagavad-gita. There's 2 sections, preparation for war and signs of victory. So in your book, you have to go past, there's a page with all the 6 chapters, 6 sections, and then you go to the page that looks like this. And in your book, it is page 12. So, yeah. So here, preparations for war. First of all, Dhritarashtra asked his secretary Sanjaya, what did my sons do and the sons of Pandu do after coming together on the battlefield of Kurukshetra? Of course, what are you going to do in the battlefield? You're going to fight. That's what you're going to do. So yeah, he's asking, and then all the soldiers on Duryodhana's side blow their conch shells, Bhishma blows his, and they're all ready to fight. That's what you do in the old times, 5,000 years ago. First you blow your conch shells before you fight. And then, now second part here, signs of victory. Here, if we look on the flag of Arjuna's chariot, we have Hanuman. That's a sign of victory. If you got Hanuman anywhere, you're going to win the battle. So keep Hanuman with you. And there are many signs of victory. Another sign is that when Krishna and Arjuna blew their conch shells, it shattered the hearts of all the other people in the army in Duryodhana's side. They were finished. All they had to do was hear the conch shells. So, yeah, that was really good. Another sign of victory. So I'm going to read verse 14, which is on page 14. Both Krishna and Arjuna, on chariot with horses white, with transcendental conch shells, proclaimed we shall win the fight. So it's all in poetry, all the verses of these chapters. And you learn a lesson here is wherever is Krishna, there must be victory. So keep Krishna always with you, and you will not lose the struggle in this world. And there is a struggle for existence. So we're going to go to part 2 of chapter 1. Part 2. The first is Bhagavad-gita, how Krishna is so affectionate to his devotees. Arjuna, he's ordering Krishna, Achyuta, bring my chariot between the two armies. Then Arjuna, he goes in between and he looks on all his relatives on the other side, and he was a bit overwhelmed with compassion. So this is the picture right here where Arjuna is ordering Krishna. Krishna is the chariot driver, and Krishna is ordering him. And there was a Brahmana in South India. He couldn't pronounce the verses of Bhagavad-gita. He was a literate Brahmana, but he was trying because his guru told him to. And so then he was crying and reading, even though he couldn't read, illiterate. And so Lord Chaitanya said to him, "So what are you reading that you're crying so much?" He says, "Well, actually I can't read properly, but whenever I pick up the Gita, I see this picture of Arjuna ordering Krishna to drive his chariot. And I start crying because I think how wonderful it is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's driving Arjuna's chariot." So yes, and the word Achyuta means he never fails in his affection for his devotees. So that's the lesson we learn in this section. In the old days, the driver of the chariot would put his right foot on the shoulder of his driver, on the right shoulder, and left foot on the left shoulder of his driver, because he doesn't know whether to turn right or left, and that was how he would tell him. If he would push his foot on Krishna's right shoulder, turn right, foot on the left shoulder. So can you imagine how Krishna was so submissive to his devotee? Who would be a driver? And Krishna did that for Arjuna. So that's the picture we see here. Bhakta-vatsala, he's very kind to his devotees. Arjuna had so many doubts. No, if I fight, this will happen, that will happen. Oh, I'm going to read verses 37, 38 here, which is on page 18. "Although these men can kill their friends, their hearts so filled with greed. Why should we fight, since we can see the crime and evil deed?" And so that is, he's saying, this is sinful. This battle is sinful. We should not kill our relatives. And so the last part, we're on page, so that was page 18. The last part of this, the dynasties, destruction of dynasty. Arjuna foresees the result of the end of a great dynasty. Unprotected women, unwanted children, lost family tradition. So he sits down overwhelmed with grief. He doesn't want to fight over here. And the name of this chapter, in the first chapter in Sanskrit, is Vishada Yoga, or Yoga of Lamentation. So I think some of us have done this yoga also. Yoga of Lamentation. If you live in this material world, it's unavoidable that you practice this yoga. And Arjuna was feeling these problems. So yes, now we will go to chapter 2, where Arjuna is going to express a few more doubts, and this is here in this first part here. And finally, he surrenders to Krishna and accepts Krishna as his guru. So I'm going to read verse 7. "Now I'm confused about my duty. Tell what's best for me. You're a surrendered disciple. To you I bend my knee." So he's accepting Krishna as guru, no more friend. And so now, and this is a lesson, if we want to solve our problems in this life, we have to approach a spiritual master in disciplic succession. So there we go. Now, Krishna, now on this side, Krishna is going to give instructions about the soul. Soul is eternal. So he's explaining, here we see this, how you go through so many different bodies. And inside the soul is there, And the soul is not changing, although we are changing. And we don't like change because we're eternal. So here the first instruction, don't lament for the living or the dead. And then, so this is change of body. You're going from one body to the other. And verse 14 is, if you know this, you're not this body, then the first instruction he gives is that you must tolerate. So I'll read verse 14, page 26. Happiness and distress are a temporary state, like winter and summer seasons. Just learn to tolerate. There you go. So you can just say that, then you'll learn that verse quickly. Of course, you can practice it too, and that's the best way to learn the instructions of Bhagavad-gita. Learn to tolerate. So here's somebody tolerating. He's meditating in the winter and the summer season. Looks like spring, actually. Oh, here's winter on this side and summer on this side. Yeah, you can see that. So yeah, now we are going to go to this lesson. Okay, yeah. So you can give to her here. Give to her. If somebody else wants to have a book to follow, you can raise your hand and we can give you a book. But it looks like you're all busy here. Okay. Jai. So now we're going to part 2, chapter 2, part 2. And the first section is, here's part 2. Qualities of the soul. Here, you can't burn it, you can't freeze it, you can't destroy it by water or drowning. But the soul is in all creatures, and that's what we learn here in Bhagavad-gita. It's never born, eternal, and visible and conceivable, cannot be killed. The soul cannot be killed. We cannot be killed, only the body. So I'm going to read verse 24. The soul is unbreakable, insoluble, nor dried nor burned by flame, all-pervading, unchangeable, eternally the same. So that is, yes, this is up here, not burned or anything. And now that second part of this page is Kshatriya's dharma. As a Kshatriya, you have to fight. That's your duty. So Arjuna was born as a king, and it was his duty to uphold law and order, and by fighting, he would follow his destined path and also be true to his nature. So this is another argument Krishna is giving Kshatriya's duty. And then, now this here we have Buddhi Yoga. You should work in devotion. It's never lost, and it's the purpose of the Vedas. So here is a beautiful verse here in the middle that says, like, the Vedas are just like different wells. From one well you wash your clothes, one well you get drinking water. They all have different purposes. But if you just go to the reservoir of water, all your purposes will be fulfilled. So the devotee, he doesn't go to the Vedas. He goes to Krishna's lotus feet. He hears about Krishna from Gita and Bhagavatam, and he gets everything. He gets everything. Yes. Isn't that nice? And not only that, hear this verse 34. His karma is finished. No more karma. We'll hear more about that in chapter 4. So I'm going to read verse 44 on page 33. When sense enjoyment fills the mind and opulence does make one blind, determination one can't find for devotion to God within one's mind. Well, there you go. If you're too attached to material things, you cannot be determined to be a devotee. Now, on this side, we have devotional service liberates. So here we have in the middle the whirlpool of this material world. Everyone is drowning in this whirlpool. But look who's coming out at the top, devotees on Harinam. They are on top of it. They are getting out of this whirlpool of material existence. And they're going back to Krishna up here at the top. I'm going to read verse 50. By devotion you'll be free of good and bad while you're alive. It is the art of all work. Therefore, for this yoga, strive. Okay, Buddhi Yoga. Devotional service liberates. Now we're going to part 4 of chapter 2, the higher taste. Here's some people out there, and here we got our devotee lady giving them simply wonderfuls. And they're getting a higher taste. And that's very important. You can't give up the lower things unless you have a higher taste. So, yes. So we'll read verse 59, which is all about higher taste. Yogis artificially stop senses while material taste remains. Devotees get a higher taste, automatically refrains. And so that's this picture here. Here's Haridas Thakur. He's not attracted to Maya Devi. And here she's given the Simply Wonderful, so they forget the meat, fish, and eggs over here. And if you don't get a higher taste, what can happen? Here's somebody, he's meditating on objects of senses, and they get together, and then they start fighting. And then he starts drinking, and he's just lost, and he becomes a dog in his next life. Don't do that. Don't follow that path, please. Get a higher taste, and go back to Krishna. And so then, now here on this other side, we have samadhi. And this, the lesson we do learn from that is sense control you can only have by higher taste. Samadhi, you engage in Lord Krishna's service, following regular principles, freedom, and at death you can enter the kingdom of God. And so here is somebody, the senses can take you away, just like a boat. You can lose it in the water. And here, this is a famous verse, just like all the rivers are entering the ocean. So the devotee's chanting, and in his mind there's all these thoughts which aren't so good, but he's steady just like the ocean. Although so many rivers going in, he's not moved, he's not affected, because he's chanting Hare Krishna. And the lesson we learn here is and here he's going back to God here, that's the last verse over there. So do chant your rounds, and you'll hopefully get a higher taste. Now, Chapter 3 is entitled Karma Yoga, and Arjuna's confused. You told me to renounce, you told me to work. So Krishna explains that premature renunciation may lead to artificial meditation. And so we have somebody here, he's a Sahajya. He is pretending to be Krishna. We do have such people in Vrindavan, but he's thinking how to enjoy the women. And they do that. They dress like Krishna, they think they're Krishna. And then they think they want to do Rasa Lila. So yeah, that's why it's not good to artificially meditate. Better to fight for Krishna like Arjuna should be doing. Of course he will do. Fight for Krishna. And then you can transcend. So I'm going to read verse 9 of this. And this is on page something. Page 45. Just make your work a sacrifice for Vishnu satisfaction. Detachment you will gain, and freedom from reaction. The sacrifice for Vishnu. Yes, this is the second part here. And what's the best sacrifice? Here we have the Harinam devotees back again, chanting Hare Krishna. And the demigods are showering flowers and everything on them. The demigods are happy when you chant in Harinam Sankirtan. And so it's good if you do that. Here's a guy out in the fields, and he's also chanting Hare Krishna over here. And he's getting sunshine and he's getting rain for his crops, which need both. And so this is work for Krishna. Sacrifice for Vishnu, best sacrifice is Harinam. Now part 2 here, work is an example. Here's a devotee, he's distributing books. Here's Maharaj Prataparudra sweeping the floor in front of Lord Jagannath. In Florida, we have about 7 Rath Yatras every year, and they get the mayor of the city to come and sweep the floor in front of Jagannath every year from the different cities they go to. The mayor comes and sweeps the road with a broom, just like the king did 500 years ago. So work is an example. I'll read verse 24. If I shunned work, Krishna is speaking, if I shunned work, then all the worlds would end in ruination, destroying peace of everyone with unwanted population. So this is the problem. Even Krishna works here. He's getting married, even though he doesn't have to. But he's showing the world that, yes, as a king, everyone should get married too. Of course, no one can compete. Krishna had 16,108 wives. We have a problem with only one in this world. So, and now the second part is the ignorant and the wise. So here we have our prasad distribution lady, again with her Simply Wonderful, as our laddus looks more like, at a demonstration. So that's the ignorant and the wise, we can see. So she's not telling them, stop your work. She's just trying to engage them in spiritual activities. So, yes, we should not. Krishna says, don't disturb him, encourage him in acts of work of devotion. So verse 27 is over here. Bewildered by material modes, one thinks he does it all. So here we have the doer, and people are glorifying him. Actually, he is not free, but works by nature's call. Here's the three modes controlling him over there. And so now part 3, we have here work for Krishna. Again, Arjuna is getting free from all his chains of karma. Here's people who are chained, watching the TV. Do they watch TV anymore? I don't know. Yeah, they have these big ones right now, and they watch TV. They still do that, even though it's all on your phone and computer. You still, at home, you have the big TV. You know, here we have their chains are around them, and here the devotees chanting japa, and his karma is being finished. Arjuna is fighting. And then the next part is conquering lust. Arjuna said, why can't we control? And Krishna says it's lust. Lust is sitting down here, senses, mind, and intelligence. And but if you chant Hare Krishna, here's a Harinam devotee, lust is running away. And the senses, the mind, and intelligence are all very happily following the Harinam Sankirtan and following the soul. So we need to conquer lust. I'll read verse 41, page 54. Thus one must always curb this lust by senses regulation and slay this destroyer of self-realization. And here we have different kinds of lust. The tree is like the embryo in the womb. The other animal is like the dust on a mirror. And the person is like the flames, human being, like the flames of a fire. So now we're going to chapter 4, part 1. And we have the first part is, let me get to my notes here, knowledge of Krishna. So this knowledge Krishna first gave to the sun god, he gave to his son, sun god Vivasvan, he gave to Ikshvaku. But in time, this chain of succession was broken, so Krishna is now speaking it to Arjuna. And so Krishna says, yes, I come here. I'll read verse 7. Whenever and wherever there is decline in true religion, I come to bring true love of God and stop all irreligion. So this is Krishna coming here as a baby to Vasudeva and Devaki. And here's Lord Buddha coming. He's also in this Kali Yuga. And here is Lord Chaitanya. And that's a very special verse, verse 9, that whoever understands my birth and activities will not be born here in this material world. He will come back to me. So that's here. He's going back to Godhead because he understands Krishna's birth and activities. So now the second part, Krishna satisfies everyone. Somebody wants to merge, okay. Somebody wants to enjoy, okay. Somebody wants super soul meditation, and somebody wants Krishna. Krishna gives everything to everyone. Here's the 4 varnas and ashram. 4 varnas is according to quality and work. Very important verses here. And now we're going to analyze karma, but here's the devotee. It's really, karma, akarma, vikarma, oh my goodness, what is it? And so, here we have vikarma, he's eating meat. Here we have karma, good karma, he's feeding the cow. And here we have akarma, he's doing devotional service, taking care of Krishna's cows. And he's a devotee over here. Now here we have on this side, karma yoga and knowledge. It's people doing devotional service for Krishna. Here we got Rathiyacha. And we've got deity worship. And here's somebody's giving all his money to his deity, Giriraj. So part 3, sacrifice. So many sacrifices. You can do some material charity, you can do jnana, study the Vedas, or you can fight for Krishna. And of course that's the highest form of sacrifice in knowledge. And here we have the guru. Guru gives knowledge. Yes. I'll read also verse 36 here. We're on the boat of transcendental knowledge. Even if you're sinful, if you go in this boat, here he's got his dog with him, it looks like, on the boat. So sometimes devotees do have their pets. They can also go back to Godhead if you give them prasadam, because they're not doing any offense. And so that, it might be considered not so good to have pets, but you can also bring that pet back to Godhead if you're. But don't be attached. We'll find out about that later. Don't be too attached to that pet, or you might become a dog or a cat in your next life. But the Guru, he will direct you what to do. And here's knowledge. Arjuna has the bow of knowledge. Yes. I'm going to read verse 36, which is about the boat, I think. Let's see. Even if you're sinful, if you stay in Gita's boat, crossing ocean of miseries, very easily you'll float. Okay, stay in the Bhagavad-gita boat. There we go. Chapter 5, Krishna, let me find it here. Chapter 5 is called Karma Yoga, Action, and Krishna Consciousness. So Karma Yoga is best. Again, Arjuna is confused which is best, yoga or renunciation. And Krishna again says, work in devotional service without being entangled. And that is the process of Karma Yoga. You see here examples of devotees working. Here's a book distributor out there. We had some people, I think some of you were out there distributing books. I heard yesterday. And so that's very nice. And here we have a devotee going back to Krishna. Process of Karma Yoga. And then here we have on this side, we have soul, super soul, and nature. So here, verse 15, this man wants to have a car and a wife. So inside super soul is there. He says, okay. So then material nature helps him to get what he wants. And then then he's under the modes, and Krishna says, okay, and then the modes help him. But the best thing is if you desire Krishna and Krishna consciousness, and here we have the Harinam party back again, chanting, and he wants to go back. So then the last section of chapter 5, Super Soul, meditation. Yes, here we have meditating on Super Soul in different ways. And but the last verse is actually the peace formula, which is very Prabhupada quoted many times. How to get peace in this world. Knowing me as Lord of planets, purpose of all austerities, well-wisher of all living beings, gains freedom from all miseries. So here he's the Lord of sacrifice. Here he's the owner of all the planets. And here he is the friend of all living entities. So that's Krishna in our heart as Super Soul. And then you will have peace if you know these three things. Krishna is the goal of my work, of my meditation, my austerities. Krishna is, I belong to Krishna. He owns me. He owns everything I have. And he owns this whole world. And the third one, Krishna is my friend. He is my friend, and he is helping me in all situations of life. So yes, so if you meditate on Super Soul as the best friend, Lord of planets, purpose of all austerities, you'll be happy, you'll be peaceful, and free from all miseries. And that's also for the whole world. If the world does that, then the world will be peaceful too, and free from all miseries. So we're going to chapter 6, Sankhya Yoga. Here we have the Ashtanga, Eightfold Ashtanga Yoga. This is niyam, things you should do, niyam, yam, what you shouldn't do, niyam, what you should do, and then asana. And we do have our yoga over here, our yoga teacher too, and she does asana. And also pranayam, here they're doing pranayam. And then atyahara, bringing the senses back. Now bhakti has all these elements, and then 3 levels of meditation, the last of which is samadhi. And we'll talk a little bit about that also later on in some other class. So this is the first part here is neophyte to advanced devotees. So a neophyte must do his work while practicing yoga. But when he becomes advanced, then they stop working, these yogis. They just sit in meditation in the forest, and that's it. But not the bhakti yogi. He goes out there and fights with Maya and tries to bring back people to Krishna. So his second part here, regulations of yoga. So you see the clock all around the clock. What is the devotee doing? Eating, sleeping, working, recreation. This must be regulated. Krishna says in Bhagavad-gita, I will read that verse 16 and 17, page 86. For one who is eating, sleep, and work, and pleasure regulated, by yoga practice constantly, all pains are mitigated. So it's really true. You can be free from miseries by practicing, by regulation. This is the mode of goodness. The mode of goodness is very, very important. It's a balance, and that's also Ayurveda. If you study Ayurveda, this word balance, you must balance the doshas. So in yoga also, you have to balance your activities, eating, sleeping, work, and regulation. If you can balance it, you'll be healthy. And we're not healthy because we can't balance it. Our mind is imbalanced, all of us, most of us. Can't speak for, at least I speak for myself. The mind is crazy sometimes, and we cannot control it. We have to make it our friend. Got to make the mind our friend. And that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad-gita. Make the mind your friend, and then it will help you to advance in spiritual life. So lesson we learn here is that regulation stops all miseries. And that's part of yoga, Krishna's teaching. Now here we're going to, this section is about higher levels of practice, very high levels. So here we have, Krishna says, you got to bring the mind back. That's Yahara, that's the fifth level. Now bring it here, the mind is running away here. And the devotee's trying to bring it back. Look at Krishna, look at Vishnu, look at Super Soul. Yeah, and again, the yoga ladder, he's going up on the next level. He is meditating on Super Soul. But we require determination. And Prabhupada gives a story of a little sparrow here the ocean took away this sparrow's eggs. So the sparrow decided, I'm going to take all the water of the ocean out and finish the water of the ocean. So the little sparrow was taken, beak by little beak, and the ocean was laughing, ha, ha, ha. But then Garuda saw what happened, and he came, okay, if you don't give those eggs back, I'm going to take your water. And Garuda could do it. He could swallow it. And so we need that determination. And we will be helped by Krishna if we just try to serve Krishna to the best of our ability, do whatever we can. Krishna will appreciate it, and he will help us to overcome the worst kinds of problems in this material world. And so here we have now in the next part, it's about super soul realization. So there comes a point where the yogi, he sees the super soul in the hearts of all living entities. Yeah, here he is. He's seeing in his heart too. Of course, but Arjuna says, I know it's true that you can control the mind, but for me it's very difficult. It's like trying to control the wind. Here he's trying to capture the wind with here's the mind. It's not possible. But Krishna says, yes, it is possible with two things, practice and detachment. If you practice and you're detached, you can control the mind. That is verse 35, which I will read for you. To curb the restless mind is a difficult achievement, but it is possible by practice and detachment. So here, he's got the rope of practice and detachment. He's controlling the mind, which is like the wind. And here's another way. You can go out and distribute books. It's a good idea. And that way you can control the mind. Yes, Krishna, He is very, very kind to the devotee. He will help you, as we saw Garuda helping that sparrow. And now we're going to go to the last part of chapter 6, part 3. Unsuccessful yogi. Arjuna said, is he like a riven cloud that has no place in the world? And Krishna says, no. In his next life, he will be automatically attracted. So sometimes you see the Harinam party, and you see a little kid running to the Harinam, and the parents are kind of looking, oh, what's going on here? You know, what's this little kid doing here? What's our kid doing? Stop. But you can't stop it. And I read stories how some devotees, they're like 11 years old, they're 13 years old, and they're just naturally attracted. And they become devotees later. And they start very young. Yeah. Actually, my god sister, she tells a story that she was with her one friend when she was very young, maybe 11, 12 or something. And her friend asked her, what are you going to do in life? And then she just started thinking, my god sister, Nang Manjari, and she just felt like a whiff of air. And it happened to be the day that Prabhupada arrived in America. And she said, well, maybe I'll devote my life to God. So she didn't know how she felt that, but she just felt like she could feel that Prabhupada came. Somehow she could feel Prabhupada's presence. And she joined when she was 16 years old. Just automatically attracted to the Harinam. Also like Indra Prabhu in Washington, D.C. The first time he saw the Harinam, then he just joined. He just started running and running. And he even lost one shoe. The devotee said, why don't you go and get your shoe? And he said, I'm not going back. So that was it. He joined the Harinam party. So, yes, unsuccessful yogi. Sometimes Prabhupada says that we were all sent by his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And then they said, Prabhupada, but we were eating meat, and how can it be? He said, Prabhupada said, no, that was just external. Because as soon as you heard me calling, you all ran. And that's true, we ran. Prabhupada called, and that was it. And I never thought I'm going to be a Krishna devotee in my life. Although I was worshiping Jesus, I was worshiping God, but I had no idea that I was going to surrender my life to God. So yeah, we do, perhaps in past life, we might have done something to become devotees. And that's what Krishna says in Gita. When he's a yogi, he will be automatically attracted. And here we have the whole family becoming devotees. And so then the last verse is the topmost yogi. Here we have the yoga ladder, karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, bhakti yoga. The highest devotee is Krishna's devotee is the highest yogi. So I will read that last verse, 47, which is page 94. The yogi who will think of me with faith and spiritual love is close to me in yogic bond. Of all yogis, he is above. So it's good to be Krishna's devotee. He's the highest yogi. And yes. So here, Krishna, chapter 7, knowledge of the Absolute. Krishna is the Supreme. First thing, first part. And you see how all the worlds are coming from him. Very, out of billions of men, one is trying to understand Krishna. And out of those who understand, maybe one is liberated. And out of liberated souls, one is a devotee. So it's very, very fortunate to practice devotional service in this age of Kali. We're one among billions of men. And then Krishna says, I'm earth, water, fire, air, ether, intelligence, false ego, and I'm the soul, and I'm also the super soul. He's telling, but the nicest verse is verse 7 here, and that is, no truth is above me. Of all beings, I'm the head. All things do rest on me as pearls strung on a thread. So there we go. Pearls, these are all the pearls. And one is creation, there's destruction, there's all kind of things going on here. But Krishna is holding it all together as pearls are strung on a thread. Okay, so the last one, no, not the last one. The next section, Krishna is the essence. He is the essence. I'm the taste of water, light, sun, and the moon. I'm fire. I'm all these things. Tapasya. I'm sex life. Garbhadam samskara. I am strength of the strong without passion. So I'm going to read verse 14, which is on page 100. These modes belong to me, so they're difficult to flee. Just surrender unto me, easily cross it and be free. So that's up here, what's happening. This devotee, he is surrendering, and the three modes are broken here. With his passion and ignorance, they have become broken from they can't control him anymore. So it's good to surrender to Krishna. And already in chapter 7, Krishna's talking about it. And we'll hear about it in the last chapter. Chapter 7, part 2, is impious and the pious. Oh, yes. So here's the impious people up here, top. They're breaking all the four Vedic principles, and we got a Sahaja with them too. And there's a guy in the university, and there's people in the lowest. And when they're in trouble, they start taking drugs, or they start drinking, or they're smoking, or they're whatever they're doing. I even heard that they go shopping too, and that's something, shelter for some people. They go shopping, and they're happy shoppers. But I have a friend who used to go to the Walmart and buy clothes and wear the clothes for a week or two and then take them back, because you can bring them back within a month. And then she would wear all kinds of clothes but she couldn't afford them. So then she would bring them back and, give them back to the shop. So people, they find different ways to enjoy in this world. I thought that was a really interesting one. Happy shoppers. Even if you can't afford it, you can shop. You can take it home, and you can bring it back. If you have a certain amount of money, then you just keep that money, and then you can wear whatever you like. So this is, that's impious. Pious people here, they're turning to God. Here's somebody who is in distress, somebody wants some money, somebody's curious, and somebody is seeking knowledge. So these four are pious, and they turn to Krishna. One time I was given a Bhakti Shastri class, and I asked the devotees in the class, so why did you come? Were you in distress? Did you want money? Mostly they were in distress, or they wanted knowledge. In the Bhakti Shastri class, they're more intellectual. They're curious. Only one said, I wanted money. So he became the treasurer of the temple. He got money, but not the way he thought he would. So much money passing through his hands. I thought that was really funny. Anyway, we do have these things going on. And now here, this one, Bahunam Jamanam, after many, many births, this is the Gyani, he's speculating birth after birth after birth. Finally, he surrenders to Krishna. Oh my God, why didn't I do that? Prabhupada said, if you're intelligent, don't go through many births, just surrender now. Surrender to Krishna now, and you can go beyond birth and death. So then, now, demigod worshippers and impersonalists are here in the middle. Where did my thing go? Oh yeah, here we go. And they're going to different places, going to the demigods. And this one is going back to Godhead. Devotees go to me. Yes. And this is demigod worshippers over here. But they don't know that he's here. He wants some children. So he's worshiping Lord Shiva. But Krishna is giving Lord Shiva those kids, and Shiva's giving them to him. And so it's actually, that's how it's working. That's how it's working. The demigods, they give you, but they have to get the sanction of Lord Krishna to do that. Krishna says, and no one can understand me because they're covered by my Maya. They're all covered. So here now, this is freedom from bewilderment. So again, he's urging Arjuna to fight, and the devotee is chanting, and he will go back to Godhead. I'll read verse 26 of chapter 7. Chapter 7. Yeah. As Supreme Lord, I know everything, future, present, past as well. I know all living beings, but of me no one can tell. Yeah, so that's verse 26 up here. Super soul, he knows everything. Right. Now, if you're, of course, if you're determined, then you can go beyond this. That is verse 28. One who has acted piously, whose sins have reached cessation, free from all duality, serves me with determination. Yeah, so that would be Arjuna here, serving Krishna with determination. And we're going to go to chapter 8, which is attaining the supreme goal of life. It starts with Arjuna's questions. He's asking about so many things: karma, the self, the demigods, fruit of work, and Lord in the heart he's also asking. And so the next section is about remembering Krishna. Krishna recommends you should fight, at the same time think of me. So I'm going to read verse 6 of chapter 8. Verse 6, page 111. Whatever one will think of when his body he will quit, that thought will always stay with him, and he will attain it. So yes, whatever you think of. So, of course, thinking of Krishna is the most important thing. And so this is what this devotee is doing. He's becoming a manjari, and he's going back to Radha and Krishna here. So that's what we should think of Krishna. And in this chapter of 8 of Bhagavad-gita, in 17 purports, Srila Prabhupada says, remembering Krishna means chanting Hare Krishna. That's how you remember Krishna, by chanting. And so that is very, very important. And here, and if the yogi does it, now we're going here into the last part, Yoga Mishra Bhakti. That means yoga mixed with bhakti. If the yogi chants Om and he thinks of Krishna, he can also go back to Godhead. So even a yogi can do it, a regular yogi. Om, but usually he goes to the Brahman, so it's very unusual. If a yogi becomes a devotee, that's the best thing. Now, yeah, you got to be careful here, Bharat. Whatever you think of, he's thinking of a deer, became a deer. So don't think of your cat or dog when you're leaving your body, or else you might become one. Be careful of that. So, yes. Now, this, Yoga Mishra Bhakti is chanting Om. And we're going to go to the next part. Pure devotional service. You know, this world is a miserable place. Here he's a man in misery down here. And you don't have to look far. It could be one of us who is suffering, especially old age. But here Krishna is saying, no karma, no jnana, just come to me. That's pure devotional service. I'm going to read that verse. No, I'm not. Am I? I guess I can, since I told you. Verse 14, for one who always thinks of me, I'm easy to obtain. Always serving me with pleasure, no material desires remain. So that is pure devotional service, to be free of this. And now here we have we are showing the comparison between material and the spiritual worlds down here in the middle. And so, let me see what we have here in our notes. Oh yes. Material worlds created and destroyed again and again. And we have been suffering. We have been experiencing that. We live and die repeatedly. But transcendental to this world is the spiritual world, where we want to go, which is our goal. I'll read verse 21. That world is called infallible, where there is never lack, and one who goes to my abode will never come back. So that is where we want to go, and we're practicing that. Now the last part of chapter 8 is devotional service includes all. It doesn't matter what ashram you're in, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, you can practice devotional service and go back to Krishna. And it's talking about different times when people leave their bodies. If you leave in the day, you go to the higher planets. Leave in the night, you go down, or you go to the moon planet, actually. But Krishna says to us, to devotees, not to worry. Verse 27, devotees who know these two paths are never in confusion, so always fix yourself in loving devotion. So we don't have to worry about that. Krishna will take care of our time of departure here. He says, don't worry. So we're going to go to the last chapter for today is chapter 9. Most confidential knowledge, king of knowledge. Yes. So verse 2, you can see everybody's back in Harinam over here, and we got all kinds of people from all religions chanting in this Harinam. And I'm going to read verse 2. And they're all happy, too, happy chanters. This knowledge is most pure of all education, the king. Religion's perfection, the path of joy, gives realization everlasting. So it's a very happy path. Now, people who don't want this, they see the Harinam and they go away. They're lost. They're going to come back to birth and death. Now, so the lesson here is devotional service is joyful. Now, the second part of this is Chintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Krishna is everywhere, but he's in the spiritual world enjoying. Although he's everywhere in this material world, but this is his place is in the spiritual world with Radharani and the gopis and the cowherd boys. So I'll read verse 10. This great material nature is under my direction, producing all beings in creation and destruction. So although he's up there, he's in control over here too. Here he is. And he's got his expansion Mahavishnu who is doing the work. Not even Vishnu doesn't have to work. He just looks at Durga and everything happens. He just sends his glance over there, and she gets it, and she gets pregnant. Actually, Lord Shiva carries the glance, and he consorts with her. And all the living entities in this world. So, Lord Shiva and Durga are the father and mother of our material bodies. Of course, Krishna, Radha and Krishna, they are taking care of our soul. We are coming from them. We are expansions. So, of Krishna and Radharani. So, now we go to part 2 of chapter 9, and that is devotees and non-devotees again. There's a comparison. Here we have the non-devotees who look like donkeys, and they're criticizing Krishna, a beautiful Krishna. Oh no, he's just a man like us. No, he can't be God. But they're criticizing Krishna. And then the second part, here's an atheist, I am God. Well, he doesn't get knowledge, he doesn't get liberation, he doesn't get even good karma. But here we have a devotee, Raghunath Das Goswami, and he's being protected. These are the Mahatmas. They're protected by the divine energy, who is none other than Srimati Radharani. This verse 13 is quoted, Nectar of Devotion, just to show that devotees are under protection of the divine nature, and this is described from Bhagavad-gita here. These are our devotees, is what happened, and of course here they're worshiping Lord Jagannath. Now this part, universal form, different ways to worship through the Vedas. This is universal form down here. And Krishna says, I am Amrita and I am also death. I'm immortality, I'm death personified. I am rain and I am the hot sun too. That's all Krishna and his universal form. So now we're going to part 3 of chapter 9. Demigod worshippers and devotees. That's the whole section here. here we have Krishna worshipping ghosts. He'll become a ghost. He's worshipping demigod, going to demigod, person worshipping people in this world, like politicians or rich people. They will come back here. Devotees worshipping Krishna, he will go to Krishna. But these other people who are not worshiping Krishna, they all fall down back into this ocean of birth and death. Now, where is verse? Here's 23. Oh, yeah, demigods again. He's worshiping demigods. Krishna is given to Lord Shiva. I'm looking for verse. Here, 23. He's reading the Gita, and Krishna's. These devotees, yeah, they don't have worries. Krishna is taking care of them. These Harinam Sankirtan devotees, everything's taken care of. You go out and preach, Krishna takes care of what you lack. He will give you what you lack or protect what you have. So that's verse 23 over here. And that's the lesson we learn from this picture. The last one is just pure devotional service. The whole last section here, we have a leaf of flower, fruit and water. Here's our devotee with a leaf of flower, fruit and water, worshiping Radha Krishna, whole family. All you do, all you eat, all you give away. He's giving his ball to Krishna, this little boy. You give to Krishna. And then this verse is about, he's equal to everyone as super soul, but for devotee, he is a friend. So I'm going to read that verse 29. I'm equal to all. I'm in everyone's heart. But my devotee is my friend. From him I'll never part. And if you do worship Krishna, your karma will be finished. But sometimes devotees fall down. Here's a devotee, still has his sika, but he's breaking all the four-wigged principles. So Krishna says, yeah, don't worry, I got him. By the sika, I'm taking him back. That's this verse here, verse 31. And sometimes devotee falls down. And Krishna doesn't forget such devotees. There is one devotee in Ireland who was very, he said, oh, Mangalarti, that's way too early to get up, and this is too much for me. And in those days, there was no toilet paper. In the early days, we did everything with water. We didn't have toilet paper. He said, there's no toilet paper in this place. I must go. And so he went out. He started working. He got a night job. And one night, 2 o'clock in the morning, he said, oh, this is worse than Mangalarti. I can't sleep at all. And then he was working in a paper factory, and he broke one box, and all these rolls of toilet paper fell on his head. And he thought, oh, Krishna has a sense of humor, how he brings people back. And he said, yeah, okay, I'll go back to the temples. So, yeah, Krishna, he doesn't forget his devotee. No. So then the last verse, Manmana Bhavamad Bhakta, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer, and you will go to me. So I will stop here. If you have any questions or comments, you can ask this time. You have a few minutes. Yes? You can ask. Yeah. Pardon me? Oh, okay, yeah, when you leave your body, you love your family members, but don't get attached. That's true.
What is the difference between love and attachment?
What's the difference between love and attachment? Well, according to our scriptures, real love is to connect everyone to Krishna. And attachment will be more like, he belongs to me. So, like there's examples of mothers, or I know one mother in Krishna consciousness who lost one child. He was he got hit by a train, and he was walking on the track with his girlfriend. He pushed the girlfriend out, and he was killed. She was saved. And so, she was grieving and grieving, but then she came to the realization, okay, he was a twin also. She had 7 children. And he was a twin, and so then she had, okay, Radharani gave me this boy, and now she took him back. He was like a teenager. teenager boy. And yeah. And so, yeah, and there was one Bengali lady saying, she had 2 sons, one drowned, and she said, yeah, anyway, he's Krishna's, Krishna gave him, Krishna took him. So that's the difference. It's a very high thing. And you do go through grieving. There's like many stages of grief you go through. But then you start going through the grieving stages, denial, anger, guilt, fear, but then you come to then you start getting out of it, and you accept it. That's acceptance. First you accept, and then you come to higher levels where you actually accept. Okay, he's a spirit soul, and he belongs to Krishna, and it's very hard though. It's very hard to come to that level, but it's necessary for you to go on with life, because I know one person lost her father, then she started drinking, and then she was lost, but then she did get out of it. She did listen and take the course, whatever they do, AA, Anonymous, and then now she's a counselor helping others. So that is, I just downloaded today one whole, I can share it with you later. There's a whole picture of the different levels of grief and coming out of it too. I can share that with you later. Okay, so any other questions now? Wait, slowly. Oh, the story of toilet paper, yeah. There's no toilet paper in the temple. Then Krishna gave him a whole ton on his head. He broke the box and it all fell on his head. You want toilet paper? Okay, how much? Yeah, it's a very good story. I don't know the name of the person. It was maybe 30 years ago. Yeah, okay. Any other questions? Okay. Jai, glories to Prabhupada. And if you want to keep the book, you can give $15 if you want the book, if you want to keep it. And if somebody doesn't want it, you can give it back, and maybe somebody else would like to have a book. And raise your hand if you would like to have a book. Okay. So tomorrow we will do the second half of Bhagavad-gita, all the way to chapter 18. So come at 6:45 tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Stop. Right.
Oh, she's gonna sing. Never mind.
Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtitya Deshatarine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,